Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, the podcast where we bring you inside the world of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and powerful collaborations. Each episode, you'll dive into conversations with top entrepreneurs, visionaries, and business leaders, unlocking the secrets to building profitable relationships that drive growth and success. Whether you're looking to expand your network, find new referral partners, or scale your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, presented by Leduc Entertainment. Today we are joined by Eric Prose, who is a legal advocate and the founding partner of Next Era Legal. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Adrian. I appreciate it.
Can you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Next Era Legal?
Yeah, Next Era Legal was just actually launched at the beginning of this year. It's myself and one other individual, soon to be two other individuals, known for a few years. We all do the same thing, business, real estate transactions. And what we're looking to do is to fill the gap between having small businesses and lower mid-sized businesses. Maybe they don't have the resources to have a full-time in-house counsel, or they just don't have enough work for full-time in-house counsel, but they want that open door policy. So we're really trying to push a fractional general counsel model out to those types of businesses so that they're always protected on the legal front. A little bit about me. I'm from Michigan, so Metro Detroit area, born and raised, and then moved out to California 3 days after law school. Signed up for a very hard bar exam, took it, passed, and then started my own practice probably about 4 years into being licensed.
And can you dive a little bit more into that business model, that strategy, that fractional strategy?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of the times what we've seen working with these businesses is that they have a ton of questions, but the traditional legal model of that billable hour, I'm billing you a 0.1 for every single thing that happens, doesn't work for them. That leaves a big question mark in their budgets, especially for these businesses, the smaller, lower middle market businesses. Sticking to a budget is vitally important. Even for the startups that we work with, they want to have cost certainty across months, years, however they want to plan it out. So we're coming in, we help on day to day. We have 3 different tiers that these businesses can pick from. We have the lower tier, which is basically like, hey, you need us once in a while. We're going to have monthly calls. We're going to give you automated updates. You have access to us for simple questions here or there. We have a mid-level tier. That's you need a little bit more hand-holding. Maybe you have more questions. You're launching a new product, things like that. And then we have ones that are kind of for our heavily regulated industries. And then we can always cater a new one to whatever a client may need. So the whole premise behind all of these, open door policy. Let us work with you hand in hand. Let us avoid the problems before they may come up.
And was there a bit of a trial and error to get a call, like to land upon this tiered system? Was it like, how did you land? I guess, how did you guys land on that system of operation?
Yes. So before Next Era Legal, I had my law firm, EJP Law. I've had that for 7 years before launching this new one. And this is something that I've been trying out. So right. For my partner's sake, I took a brunt of the trial and error there. But yes, it was, hey, we'll dedicate X number of hours to you at this rate. And then, it gets to something else, or the clients are like, hey, I need something else in the middle of the month. I didn't have all those wrinkles ironed out when I first came up with it. So one thing that we did is we actually went to a conference. It was more like a speed dating type conference, not just to sit in there and hear the updates. So there was a lot of meetings. And during that time, we went after our key clientele. Portfolio companies of private equity funds and the lower middle market businesses. And we talked about this over and over and over again. And throughout that process, that 2-day conference of, I don't even remember how many meetings we had, but it really refined it in our minds. And also we took all the feedback from the potential clients and the meetings we had and folded it in. So it was years on my end, and then an additional 2-day conference, and then just bouncing this off our current clients. Say, hey, would this work for you? Does this work? So a lot of testing the waters, but we're trying to bring flat fee model into business representation, not just for simple contract drafting, but for ongoing legal support.
And can you speak a little further about the people that you help and like what some of the pain points that they're experiencing when they come to you, what those pain points are?
Yeah, I mean, just like any business owner you've probably encountered, they have a great idea. Maybe they've already launched this great idea, or maybe they're about to launch this great idea, but they don't know where to go on the legal side. You go online, it's confusing. Are you forming an LLC? Are you forming a corporation? What contract do I need? I found this contract online, doesn't work. So it's really those type of questions. When we get to the point where it's been established businesses, it's more along the lines of, I need someone intertwined on a daily basis, but hiring someone at 250,000 plus benefits and all the taxes that come with an employee doesn't work for us because we don't need them for 40 hours a week. We need them 5 hours a week. So that's those are the conversations we're having over and over and over again. And it does take some time. No one wants to jump into a commitment hiring us for a 3 months, 6 months, 9 month, 12-month block. So usually what we do is we kind of go dive in on a business for a month and we get our feet into it. We're seeing what's going on. We're getting in the weeds. And then at the end of that month, we're like, okay, here's the projects we see that need to be done immediately. Boom, boom, boom. Here's the ones that can be done over the next month, the next 2 months, and the next 3 months. Based on this, we see this tier working best for you. And that also gives them the time to vet us during it. It's got to be a mutual beneficial relationship. So we don't want them signing a 3-month commitment and then 15 days in, they're like, we actually don't need them for anything. It's going to leave a bad taste. That's not how businesses outside the legal industry do it. So that's not how the legal industry should do it, in our opinion.
Right. And I was going to ask if it was a one size fits all approach that you take to your clients, or if it was highly tailored, but it sounds like it's highly tailored. Is that correct?
It is very highly tailored. Yes. So like I said, we dive in and see what's needed. There's been times where people are like, yes, let's do the monthly plan. And we dive in and we're like, you don't really have the need for it at this point, which is good. Hopefully we build you to that need. Hopefully we help you get to that need. But yes, very tailored. It's not just, hey, sign this. We're good to go. You're going to get all the same things that all of our other clients do. It's a lot of hands-on. It's a lot of meetings. It's a lot of automated updates on our end saying, hey, this is the work we've completed. Here's our next task. Let's move on.
And you have a history of taking on extra challenging cases that are deemed too hard or difficult. And can you speak a little bit about why you have that reputation and what it means to you to have that reputation?
Yeah, unfortunately, it came from a traumatic experience my family and I had to go through. My mother was a fatal victim of a workplace shooting in 1991. I was very young at that time, so I can't say I remember my dad having to go through all of the entire process, but he approached a number of high-end law firms in the Metro Detroit area to see if there's a lawsuit to be made. And the response he got back the whole time was, this is too difficult. It's not a winner, or it's going to take us too long to recover our attorney's fees. There may not be a lot of attorney's fees to recover. It's just not a winnable, or it's an impossible case. So being young, and I start hearing about that, I was always one to run to challenges anyway. A very little example, but I was maybe 80 pounds in junior high school, and I went out for the football team and made it. So like an 80-pound kid getting just hit up and down the sidelines by these much bigger kids at the time. I was a very small kid. So it kind of runs in it. And I've ran with that in the legal industry too. So a lot of times we have clients that come in a very regulated industry. A lot of attorneys have turned them down. For example, I've done work in cannabis. I've done work in helping peptide companies. And we've even been approached by companies that want to do gun accessories, e-commerce business. So we've seen these challenges in front of us, and I just run towards them. It stems from that. I don't want to be the one turning them down saying, hey, this is too hard. I can't close this deal for you. So I don't want to be that attorney. I want to be the one that you get the glimmer of hope from. We'll try our best. Let us see what we can do on this. We can make no guarantees, but let me chop away at it.
And I think that's really, really remarkable that you were able to take something that was such a tragic event and turn it into essentially a positive. You're helping other people. And is that drive to help people, was that something that came from that, or is that something that was just innate to your character?
I think it's a mixture. My father had it. My sister has it. That just kind of pushed it along a little bit more. So a mixture. My dad has a history of going above and beyond helping people. For instance, he was driving down the freeway one time, saw a fire, and parked his car on the side of the freeway and ran up the embankment to help people. So he's always been one to help. And obviously, words are one thing, but when you see your dad do things like that,
right,
it wears off on you. So a mixture of both.
I was going to say, talk about leading by example. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Good Lord. So can you talk a little bit about the mission of Next Era Legal, and maybe about how the mission of Next Era Legal reflects your own personal values?
Yeah. Look, like I said, we want to really establish a new way of thinking about the practice of law. You're in law school and you're told the practice of law is not a business. It's the practice of law. It is a business. And if you look at the big law firms, it's a multi-billion-dollar business. But we want to treat the people that work with us just like your favorite companies do. I mean, the best companies out there, they recognize their clients. They recognize the people they work with, their partners and everything. And we're bringing that into the legal community. So one of our main pillars, like I mentioned before, is that cost certainty. So a fractional model, if you want to elect for it, great. Another one is efficiency. We're always going to be as efficient as possible with us. We have a technology partner that we work with, and we're getting a lot of integrations to make things. You get automated updates, just like you work with a tech company and they're doing your website. You get an automated update from that company to say, hey, we've started on this project. Never seen that in the legal community. Right. And our goal is to be providing you updates, multiple updates, before you ask for them. And that's kind of just the way that I've always worked. When I've had my jobs, check in, hey, this has been completed. This has been completed. We're already on our way of doing it. Playing sports, I was a captain of each team I ever played on. There was a lot of just going above and beyond and making sure things were in order to set the example. Myself and my partners, we're all team sports guys. We've all played sports in the past. We've all been captains of those teams. So we carry that on. That's who we are to a core. So this isn't, hey, we're putting on a persona to go out and try to get clients. This is how we act day in and day out, whether we're working with clients or whether we're working with our friends or strangers. So the core mission is just who we are as people.
Now, you talked a little bit about working with a tech company, and it brings to mind a question, and this one might be a little bit out there, but do you think that AI is going to impact the legal field? And if so, how do you think that what role do you think AI is going to play in the legal space?
Yeah, look, I think we're at the infant stages of what AI can be used for in the legal space. There are a number of products out there that we're exploring that help hone in and make things more efficient for contract review, contract drafting. The way we use AI, I mean, we're not using it for any kind of client research. I think it's still a little too tough for that. I wouldn't trust it at this point. Maybe for some initial research to if it's something we really have no clue on, and maybe we're not working with that client, but it piqued an interest and we want to check it out. But a lot of it is just rewording some of our emails. I mean, how many times in a day are you responding to an email and you're like, I need this to come off more friendly or more whatever way you want? We use it for that type of things. I do not see it replacing lawyers anytime soon because there's a lot of strategy there. But AI is going to become very important. We are exploring different products. And I think if a company, an attorney are not exploring those products, they're going to be left behind pretty quick, because in the last few years, there's more products than I have time to evaluate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's absolutely exploded. And it seems like every other month there's something new hitting the market, right?
Right.
So let me ask, with Next Era Legal, when you bring clients in, what is the end goal? Is it to empower your clients? And if so, how are you empowering your clients? What strategies are you adopting to do that?
Yeah, it's definitely to empower the client so that they now have this new weapon. We've kind of broken something down for them. You will never hear us use legalese. It's not how I talk, so it's not how any of us talk, and it's not how anyone wants to be talked to when they want something simply broken down to them. So we take a very complicated situation, we'll break it down, And we'll even give them like, hey, this may arise in the future, and whether you're working with us or not, here's kind of a playbook of how we approached it, so you have this in your back pocket. We want these clients to be able to make decisions. Now, obviously, a legal decision, no matter what, should be run by their legal team, but at least they have an idea of what we were looking at instead of just being kept in the dark. I'm one that asks a ton of questions all the time. So even going to the doctor, I ask questions about it over and over. I wish there was kind of a playbook on their end that they could hand over. So it's definitely to empower. It's also to show them that this is a collaborative process. I feel like a lot of lawyers, maybe not currently, but that I have met over the years, are kind of, it's our way, it's our time, take it or leave it type of thing. This is a collaborative team process. I can't work without them, and they can't work without us, hopefully. But on the fractional front specifically, we got asked, wow, you guys are kind of, limiting your jobs, because companies may get too big, and then what happens? You're out, they hire an in-house counsel. And you can look at that two ways. Yeah, you're losing a job, or you've helped that client grow so much and expand that now they've graduated out of fractional general counsel and they need full-time in-house counsel. So empower, be a team player, collaborative with them, and then hopefully push them to grow even more is what we're really aiming for with our clients.
And can you share with us maybe, and I don't know if you're at liberty to say, but can you share with us maybe some common mistakes that you see your clients making that, or maybe not your clients, but common mistakes that you see clients or people in legal situations that you handle making?
Yeah. I mean, one would be just to, ignore it and the problem goes away. So for instance, when I first started practice, when I was in litigation, I got this complaint, about 25 days ago. I think we have to do something with it, but I forgot about it. You pushing the problem down the line doesn't help solve it. So if we're looking at it, that would be number one. Number two, if we're looking at it from like a very business stage point of view, I always go back to when people are starting a business. We work with a lot of people before they even get to the formation process. And my first piece of advice is make sure you and your founders, or at least if it's only you, make sure your goals and your vision for this business are written down. And that's exactly where you want to go, because that's going to be your North Star. That's going to be how you get there. And if you don't have that in line at the beginning, it's going to make it very tough for everyone to do their jobs. It's going to make it very tough for legal, because you could change your plan on a whim, and now we have to shift course, and that may affect everything that has been done in the past. So those are two of the most common. The other would be, following or too much DIY. Hey, I did this contract. It's pretty good. I don't really need you guys to do much on it. Maybe just a quick review. And then you kind of look at the contract and it's missing vital parts. It's exposing them. Or the other one would be, well, this company does this, so we'll just do it. Those are the big ones. That one, I just had a conversation with a client. This company does it. Why can't we? It's a hard conversation to have, because it's hard to say, hey, your competitors are making a ton of money doing this, but like they shouldn't be, type of thing. So those are the biggest conversations we have.
I was just getting ready to ask. That was going to be my follow-up question, was how tough is that conversation to have of, hey, this contract you wrote?
Yeah, it's a delicate dance. And when I first started, it was I didn't take into consideration that the client might have wrote it. I just kind of assumed opposing counsel. So it is a delicate dance. So I ask a lot of questions going, okay, where'd you get this? It's a lot of that. And then we're ones that we want to close. If our client's dead set on closing this deal, we're not going to be the ones that stand in the way. We do like a tiered approach to our contract review. So whether the client drafted or someone else, we kind of look at it like, hey, here's something we see. It's not that big of a concern. You can proceed. Not much consequence there. We'll give you a yellow light on this one. It's of concern. And here's the red. You better stop right here. Right. And unfortunately, when clients draft their own contracts, it's a lot of red lights that we have to have discussions with. So it's just a frank conversation. They recognize that they're not experts, which is great. and they come to us for it, and we'll just put our expert touch on it and hopefully push it across the finish line for them.
Can you tell us can you maybe share with us a story? I mean, it sounds like, in your years doing this that you've helped a lot of people, but can you share with us a story of maybe a client or a business that you helped that you really saw a transformation in as a result of your help and guidance?
Yeah, current client, been a client on and off for, maybe since 2017, 2018. He first came to me with a tech platform. Great idea. Fantastic. There was so many legal hurdles in that. Unfortunately, the industry shifted. The platform was basically rendered extinct. It
Oh, wow.
wasn't needed anymore. I didn't hear from the client for 2 years. I follow up, send a friendly text. Hey man, let's grab a drink, something, whatever it was. Phone call right after. For the last 2 years, Eric, I've been working on this project, and I've gone over all the emails you sent regarding the last project we worked on together, and I checked the boxes all the way through. Everything you told me, from non-legal stuff to legal, and now I'm putting it to you. Here's all the legal stuff we need. So to see that transformation,
Wow.
he went from not knowing where to approach it, great idea, great technical mind, great design mind, but again, coming to me for the expertise on the legal side of it. For him to wrap it all up and hand it off to me, and now I just got to run with it on my side, I was very impressed. I was very happy too, because he came back. He knew where the missing piece was, and he came back, and now we're helping that company launch here shortly.
Oh, that's amazing. I was going to say, and was a situation where at that point, you don't have to have another strange conversation or a difficult conversation, right?
Exactly. He's a great client. He's listens. He takes everything I say, and that we may have our debates back and forth on certain topics, but you know what? At the end of the day, he goes, legal's your field, technical's mine. I'm going to run with what you have to say, and I'll integrate the technical into the legal. So it's a very good working relationship.
Well, and you mentioned that they're going to launch here soon. That's another question I would love to, take a little dive into is, what are some common mistakes you see people making when they're getting ready to launch a business?
Well, I'm a little biased. So one is not consulting with legal,
Right.
not forming it the proper way. Look, there's a lot of different articles you can find, and forming the company without the right entity structure and then trying to do certain things with it makes it very difficult. And it's going to slow things down if we've got to go back and convert. Outside of the legal side of it, if there's two founders, the one thing I always find to be the biggest issue when they're about to launch a business is not doing personality tests. My partners and I did personality tests and exchanged them. We know how we communicate. We know what we don't like through communication. We also know how we work. So I think taking what I said before, that clear vision and the personality test, I think those are two key things outside of legal that founders can do to kind of set the foundation properly. That's the good working foundation, and then we'll set the legal foundation with the entity and all the contracts, and we'll build up from there.
And can you maybe share, if there's any young attorneys out there listening, can you maybe share some advice that you would give when it comes to them maybe launching their own firm, one that is, aiding and empowering their clients the way that NextEra Legal is?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, on top of the stuff we've already discussed, the big thing that we're working on, and that I worked on for the last few years, was really getting systems and processes in place. So I know it's not billable work, you're not getting paid for it, but when you do launch and things start getting crazy, you have a system and process in place that you can just go to. Or if you hire someone on, they go to. And it really increases the efficiency. It cuts down on headaches, and it really cuts down the amount of admin work that they'll have to do launching their firm. So there's one thing other than the vision: get those systems and processes in place from the very start. It's hard to go back and find the time to do it. I was kind of forced to do it. I went to a conference, saw how valuable it was, and dedicated three days following that, just just to systems and processes. So
Wow.
that would be my biggest piece of advice.
And I mean, obviously systems and processes are important, but when you're building them out, what was your approach to building them out? How do you tackle I mean, that's a big hurdle, right?
Yeah. So I broke it down to like key steps. The most important one I did was intake. What do I want the perfect intake process to look like? Then I had to take into account everything that could go wrong during that intake process. Here's an intake form. What if they don't respond to the intake form? Do I have a form email to send out to ask them? Yes. Well, what happens if they just don't want to fill out the intake form? Okay, well, let's have the assistant walk through that intake form. What if I need documents before? Here's a form email that needs to go out. What if they just don't show up? What do you do then? So I start at the very beginning of the client journey, and I wanted to define exactly step through the entire intake process and established that a few years ago, and we've transferred that over to NextEra Legal. So we're using that process here. It's been refined over time. I think the people on the front lines, my assistant Farina, she's amazing. She makes sure I don't have a lot of headaches out throughout the day. So she has gone through and refined that process over and over based on what she's seen works and not. So start from the very beginning. Where's your client coming from? And then what do they do? If it's all generated online, what does that look like to the client? And then what happens when that form is submitted to you?
And you spoke a little bit about the people that are helping you in NextEra Legal and the people that you are partnered with. Can you speak a little bit about the importance of putting together a good business team and what that looks like?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, it's in, I believe, Naval Ravikant's book. If you can't work with a person for a day, you're not going to be able to work with them for a lifetime. So, it starts from the very beginning. The partners I've known one since law school. We worked well together in law school. We've been out of law school for years. We both kind of collaborated when we did work in the cannabis space in different states. We worked together, we referred clients back and forth. And the other individual, known for a few years now, and he was actually a childhood friend of someone I went to law school with. So there's already, it kind of worked out. They were vetted either by me or by other individuals. And we've kind of just built out the work and relationship based on test runs. I mean, we all had to try consults together. We had to try working on client matters together to see if my work complements their work and vice versa. So I didn't jump into anything. This was very well calculated. And if anyone knows me, that's not a surprise. I research, I kind of do it from every angle. So that's one point. The other point, again, we did personality tests and we did in-depth personality tests and we sent them to each other. And then we had a conversation about it after. And one of the partners even brought up, firm counseling. How can we all have a third party come in and kind of determine what's the best way for us to work together? So we're also exploring that option. On the assistant front, I mean, I lucked out, to be honest. She's fantastic. She works great. She is very methodical in her work. That was just a strike of luck, to be honest.
And it's, you mentioned the personality tests. We've had to take a couple of them ourselves over here. We've done the 6 types of working genius and this and that. I mean, there's so many of them, right? Well, Eric, thank you so much. This has been an absolutely awesome conversation. Thank you so much for coming on the show. If anybody out there listening could use the help of NextEra Legal, wants to reach out to you, how can the people find you?
Yeah, they can check out our website. It's nexteralegal.com. They can also just email me directly. That's the best way to get a hold of me, to be honest. Eric@nexteralegal.com.
Eric, thank you so much again for coming on the show. This has been awesome. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Adrian. I appreciate it.
Thanks. And thank you for listening, everyone. This has been Partnerships for Profit, presented by Leduc Entertainment.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Partnerships for Profit. We hope you've gained valuable insights on how to form profitable partnerships and take your business to the next level. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got a partnership story to share or someone you'd like to see featured on the show? Reach out to us. Until next time, keep building those partnerships for profit.